The year was 2255, and the gleaming Europa research station, one of humanity's proudest scientific outposts, sat nestled under the frozen crust of Jupiter's sixth moon. Below the surface, a network of tunnels stretched toward a hidden ocean, heated by the gravitational friction of the gas giant's pull. This subterranean sea had long been the focus of exploration, an untapped reservoir of potential life and rare resources. It was here, amidst the alien beauty of Europa's depths, that humanity would stumble upon its destiny. Dr. Isaac Herrera had dedicated his career to exoplanetary geology, spending decades unraveling the secrets of alien worlds. He was a quiet man with a restless mind, one who often found solace in the methodical grind of research rather than the chaos of human interaction. It was his team that first identified the peculiar mineral veins embedded within Europa's icy crust. These veins glowed faintly, like threads of silver fire trapped beneath the frozen expanse. Herrera's initial hypothesis was that the glow was caused by some form of bioluminescence, but further analysis revealed something far stranger. The substance, which his team soon labeled Helion X7, was unlike any element known to humanity. Its atomic structure was impossibly dense, exhibiting properties that bent the surrounding space-time in unpredictable ways. The discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Europa became a magnet for researchers, engineers, and corporate opportunists alike, all eager to harness the potential of this newfound element. Helion X7 quickly proved to be more than just a curiosity. It was a game changer. Its applications ranged from energy production to propulsion systems, promising to revolutionize space travel and technology. However, its promise came with a caveat. The element was volatile. Even minor miscalculations in its handling could result in catastrophic reactions, as evidenced by the first accidental detonation during an experiment. The blast had been contained within the station's reinforced chambers, but the incident killed 3 scientists and left a lingering sense of unease. Despite the risks, the allure of Helion X7 was too great to ignore. Humanity was in the midst of its first tentative steps onto the galactic stage, having only recently been accepted into the Galactic Union. The Union's advanced civilizations were centuries ahead in technology, and Earth's representatives often found themselves overshadowed. Helion X7 offered a chance to close that gap, to prove that humanity could contribute something unique to the collective knowledge of the stars. As the research deepened, so did the mysteries surrounding the element. Attempts to synthesize it in labs failed spectacularly, often resulting in dangerous anomalies. It seemed the material could only be harvested in its natural state, and even then, only with the utmost precision. Some scientists began to speculate that Helion X7 wasn't a naturally occurring element at all, but rather the remnants of an ancient, advanced technology. The implications of this theory were staggering. If Helion X7 was indeed a relic of an unknown civilization, it meant that Europa might have once been home to intelligent life, or at least visited by it. This possibility ignited a secondary wave of exploration, with archaeologists and xenobiologists joining the effort. They scoured Europa's icy depths, searching for any sign of structures, artifacts, or life forms. It was during one such expedition that Dr. Alina Varga, a biophysicist with a reputation for unorthodox methods, made a discovery that would forever change the course of human history. While descending into a newly uncovered cavern near the base of a thermal vent, Varga's team encountered what could only be described as an alien construct. The object was massive, its surface smooth and black as obsidian, yet it shimmered with faint, iridescent patterns that seemed to shift when viewed from different angles. It was partially embedded in the ice, as if it had been resting there for millennia. Advanced scanning equipment revealed that the structure emitted a faint energy signature remarkably similar to the quantum distortions produced by Helion X7. For weeks, the team worked tirelessly to excavate the construct, a task made more perilous by Europa's unpredictable environment. Icequakes and sudden floods threatened to derail their efforts, but the prospect of unlocking the secrets of this alien artifact drove them onward. When they finally succeeded in extracting it, they transported the construct to the surface for detailed analysis. The artifact, dubbed the Obelisk, defied all attempts at decipherment. Its surface bore no discernible markings or interfaces, and its energy emissions fluctuated in ways that eluded explanation. However, when a small sample of Helion-7 was brought near the obelisk, the two seemed to resonate, creating a harmonic vibration that filled the air with an almost musical hum. The breakthrough came when Varga, driven by equal parts frustration and inspiration, proposed a bold experiment. She theorized that the obelisk might respond to specific frequencies of electromagnetic radiation, similar to how Helion X7 interacted with energy fields. Using the station's advanced equipment, her team generated a sequence of pulses aimed at the artifact. The result was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The obelisk activated, emitting a blinding cascade of light that illuminated the entire station. For a brief moment, everyone present experienced what they could only describe as visions. Fragmented images of alien worlds, unfamiliar constellations, and immense structures floating in the void. Then, as abruptly as it had begun, the phenomenon ceased. The obelisk returned to its inert state, leaving behind a shaken but exhilarated team. Varga's instincts had been correct. The artifact was a device of immense complexity, and humanity had only just begun to scratch the surface of its capabilities. The implications of the activation rippled beyond Europa. News of the event reached the Galactic Union, sparking intense interest and concern. While some species viewed the discovery as a potential boon to interstellar cooperation, others feared what humanity might unleash in its pursuit of understanding. Back on Earth, the activation of the obelisk reignited debates about humanity's place in the galaxy. Were they explorers destined to bring light to the unknown? Or were they reckless children meddling with forces they didn't understand? The question became even more pressing when further analysis revealed that the obelisk contained a massive reservoir of data, encrypted in a way that seemed almost alive, adapting and shifting whenever attempts were made to decode it. Dr. Varga, now thrust into the spotlight as the de facto leader of the project, argued passionately for continued research. "This is not just a discovery," she said during a broadcast to Earth and its colonies. "It's an invitation to rise beyond our limitations and embrace the infinite possibilities of the universe. But we must proceed with caution and respect, for we are not the first to walk this path." Unbeknownst to her, however, the activation of the Obelisk had not gone unnoticed. Far beyond the Sol system, in the dark reaches of the galaxy, an ancient intelligence stirred. The Kravath, a species known for their unrelenting conquests, had been monitoring the faint ripples of the Obelisk's energy signature. To them, the activation was a beacon, a sign that a new player had entered the cosmic game. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, but it had also lit a signal fire that would draw the attention of forces both wondrous and dangerous. The clock was now ticking, and the decisions made in the coming years would determine whether Earth would thrive among the stars or be consumed by them. The Europa research station operated at the edge of the unknown, its reinforced corridors a fragile shield against the endless cold of the moon's frozen crust. Beneath it lay the oceanic underworld that had captivated humanity for decades, its secrets protected by layers of ice kilometers thick. Scientists worked tirelessly in cramped labs, their efforts fueled by equal parts ambition and desperation. Each new discovery added to the growing picture of a world that defied expectations, but nothing had prepared them for the implications of Helion 7. Dr. Isaac Herrera, who had long considered himself a seeker of knowledge rather than a revolutionary, found himself at the epicenter of a scientific storm. After the initial discovery of Helion X7, his focus shifted entirely. No longer content to catalog its properties, he became obsessed with understanding its origins. Theories abounded, ranging from natural geologic formation to an alien technology left behind by a forgotten race. None fully explained its unique quantum properties, which seemed to bridge the gap between matter and energy in a way no human had ever observed. The breakthroughs came in maddening fragments. Early analysis revealed that the element had a natural resonance frequency, one that allowed it to manipulate space-time at the molecular level. When isolated and bombarded with controlled electromagnetic waves, small samples created temporary distortions, tiny ripples that bent light and scrambled nearby instruments. Herrera's team cautiously ramped up their experiments, learning to stabilize the reactions for brief periods. The implications were staggering. If harnessed, Helion X7 could revolutionize energy generation, offering nearly limitless power. Space travel could be transformed with faster-than-light propulsion systems, made possible by bending space around ships. But for every promising result, there was a corresponding risk. The volatile material reacted violently when improperly handled, and early attempts to synthesize it ended in catastrophic failures. The first such failure had claimed the lives of 3 researchers and destroyed an entire lab module. The station's administrators enforced strict protocols afterward, but the shadow of that disaster loomed over every experiment. Herrera wasn't the only one captivated by the element's potential. Dr. Elena Varga, a rising star in the field of biophysics, arrived on Europa with a reputation for pushing the boundaries of acceptable science. Her initial focus had been the study of extremophile organisms thriving in Europa's deep-sea vents, but she quickly shifted her attention to Helion X7 after witnessing its unique properties. Where Herrera saw a puzzle to be solved, Varga saw a doorway to something far greater. "It's not just an element," she argued during a late-night debate with Herrera in the station's observation deck. "It's a message. Something or someone left it here for us to find." Herrera frowned, his skepticism clear. "A message assumes intent. What evidence do we have that it's anything more than a naturally occurring phenomenon?" Varga leaned forward, her eyes alight with intensity. "The energy patterns it produces aren't random. They follow a sequence, one we haven't fully decoded yet. I've seen this kind of complexity in biological systems, not in inert matter. What if it's part of something larger, an artifact, a mechanism, maybe even a living system?" Herrera hesitated. He couldn't deny the strange patterns they had observed. Nor could he ignore the growing feeling that Helion X7 was more than it seemed. Still, he wasn't ready to leap to conclusions. Speculation won't get us anywhere. We need data, not guesses. Varga's theories gained unexpected traction weeks later when her team discovered the Obelisk buried deep beneath Europa's crust. The structure, partially encased in ice, was unlike anything ever encountered. Its surface was a perfect blend of organic and inorganic materials, and it emitted faint pulses of energy at regular intervals. Most strikingly, its energy signature matched that of Helion X7, suggesting an intrinsic connection between the two. The Obelisk's discovery turned Europa into a galactic hotspot. Scientists, engineers, and corporate representatives from Earth and the outer colonies descended upon the research station, each with their own agenda. The Galactic Union took notice as well, sending observers to monitor the unfolding situation. While some Union species viewed the discovery as a potential bridge between civilizations, others regarded it with suspicion, fearing humanity's growing influence. Work on the Obelisk proceeded under tight security, with Varga leading the effort to understand its purpose. The object defied conventional analysis. It had no visible seams, no markings, and no discernible interface. Initial scans revealed intricate internal structures, but their function remained a mystery. When Varga proposed using Helion X7 to interact with the Obelisk, the station's administrators balked at the risk. "Do you have any idea what you're proposing?" demanded Commander Kiran Liao, the station's chief administrator. "We're already walking a tightrope with this element. If something goes wrong—" "I know the risks," Varga interrupted. "But this is the only way forward. The Obelisk and Helion X7 are connected. If we don't explore that connection, we'll never understand what we found." Liao reluctantly authorized a limited experiment under strict conditions. The test was conducted in a reinforced chamber, with every precaution taken to prevent collateral damage. As Varga's team carefully brought a small sample of Helion X7 near the Obelisk, the reaction was immediate and breathtaking. The Obelisk began to glow, its surface rippling with iridescent patterns that seemed to shift in response to the element's proximity. Moments later, it emitted a harmonic vibration that resonated throughout the station. For those present, the sound was almost musical, evoking a sense of wonder and unease. But the most astonishing moment came when the Obelisk released a burst of light, flooding the chamber with images. They were fleeting and fragmented alien landscapes, unfamiliar star systems, and immense structures that dwarfed anything humanity had ever built. Everyone in the room experienced the phenomenon differently, as though the Obelisk tailored its message to each individual. When the light faded and the Obelisk returned to its inert state, the room fell silent. It was Varga who finally spoke, her voice trembling with a mix of awe and determination. "It's a beacon," she said, "and it's been waiting for us." The experiment reignited tensions within the station. Some hailed the activation as humanity's greatest achievement, a sign that they were ready to take their place among the stars. Others warned that they were meddling with forces beyond their comprehension. Herrera found himself caught between these opposing views. While he couldn't deny the significance of the Obelisk's activation, he remained wary of Varga's growing obsession. "We've opened a door," he told her during another late-night conversation, "but we don't know what's on the other side." Varga's response was unwavering. "That's the nature of discovery, Isaac. It's not safe, and it's not easy. But if we don't take the risk, we'll never know what we're capable of." Unbeknownst to the researchers, the activation of the Obelisk had sent ripples far beyond Europa. Across the galaxy, an ancient intelligence detected the signal and turned its gaze toward humanity. For millennia, the Kravath had scoured the stars for artifacts like the Obelisk, seeking to unlock their power for their own ends. To them, the activation was a challenge, a sign that a new contender had entered the arena. As humanity celebrated its achievement, the Kravath fleet began its journey toward the Sol system, intent on seizing the Obelisk and ensuring that humanity's rise would be short-lived. The weeks following the Obelisk's activation were a blur of activity on Europa. Scientists, engineers, and technicians worked tirelessly to analyze every fragment of data captured during the brief but intense event. The images projected by the artifact had been recorded from every angle, but their meaning remained elusive. Even advanced AI systems struggled to parse the overwhelming flood of information, which appeared to be a mixture of raw sensory input and abstract patterns. Dr. Elena Varga became the focal point of the station's efforts, her authority and vision growing as her team delved deeper into the Obelisk's mysteries. She worked day and night, her drive bordering on obsession. The Obelisk had shown them something profound. She argued something that could redefine humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. Every answer, however, seemed to spawn more questions. The data revealed tantalizing hints of a map, its coordinates tied to a distant region of the galaxy beyond known Union territory. There were also glimpses of what appeared to be other structures like the Obelisk, each radiating the same distinctive energy signature. Whether these structures were still active or long dormant was impossible to determine. For Varga, these fragments only strengthened her conviction that the Obelisk was part of a network left behind by an advanced civilization. Dr. Isaac Herrera, meanwhile, found himself increasingly uneasy. While he shared Varga's awe, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were tampering with forces they didn't fully understand. The Obelisk's activation had unleashed a surge of energy that extended far beyond Europa, detectable even from Earth. If humans could detect it, so could others. The Galactic Union, though initially supportive, began to express concerns. Representatives from the older species in the Union arrived at the station to monitor the situation more closely. They brought with them centuries of experience and caution. The Union's history was littered with cautionary tales of civilizations destroyed by their own discoveries. One of the most vocal representatives was Ambassador T. Krall, a member of the Vortian Collective, a species known for its meticulous and analytical approach to technology. T. Krall's insectoid form shimmered faintly under Europa's artificial lighting as they addressed the gathered scientists. "The Vortian have encountered similar artifacts during our expansion," T. Krall said, their voice clicking through a translator. "These devices are not always what they appear to be. They can bring great knowledge but also great danger. Proceeding recklessly invites disaster." Varga listened but remained resolute. "With respect, Ambassador, we can't ignore the opportunity this represents. We've been shown something extraordinary, and we owe it to ourselves and to the galaxy to understand it." "You speak as if the artifact's intentions are benevolent," T. Krall replied. "Do you consider the possibility that it is testing you, or that it may not be a creation of goodwill?" The ambassador's words echoed Herrera's own fears. The activation had seemed like an invitation, but what if it was something else? A warning? A trap? The questions haunted him as he continued his work, searching for patterns that might explain the artifact's purpose. Tensions mounted on the station as debates over how to proceed grew more heated. The political implications were undeniable. Humanity's handling of the Obelisk could either cement its place within the Union or cast it as a reckless upstart. Complicating matters further was the arrival of private interests eager to exploit the potential applications of Helion X7 and the Obelisk's technology. Corporate representatives made veiled offers to station leadership, promising resources in exchange for exclusive access. Amidst the growing chaos, a second breakthrough occurred. One of Varga's team members, an expert in quantum encryption, discovered a way to interface with the Obelisk's energy signature using Helion X7 as a conduit. By carefully modulating the element's resonance frequency, they were able to decode fragments of the data stored within the artifact. The results were breathtaking. The Obelisk contained a library of information, mathematical equations, star charts, and schematics far beyond human comprehension. One of the decoded sections described a process for manipulating gravity on a scale that could revolutionize space travel. Another hinted at the existence of materials even more exotic than Helion X7, scattered across the galaxy. But the most unsettling discovery came in the form of an encoded message. The message, once translated, consisted of a single phrase: "To unlock the path, the trial must be endured." The ambiguity of the message sent ripples of unease through the station. What trial? Who had left the Obelisk? And what were their intentions? Varga interpreted it as a challenge, a test of humanity's worthiness to access the full potential of the artifact's knowledge. Herrera, however, saw it differently. What if the trial isn't something we can prepare for? He asked her during a rare moment of quiet in the station's observation deck. What if it's already begun, and we don't even realize it? Varga shook her head. We've come too far to turn back now. Whatever the trial is, we'll face it together. That's what humanity does, we persevere. As the researchers debated, events beyond Europa began to spiral out of control. Unknown to the station, the energy emitted during the Obelisk's activation had reached the Kravath, a species infamous for their ruthlessness and hunger for power. The Kravath had long sought artifacts like the Obelisk, believing them to hold the key to ultimate dominance. When their sensors detected the signal, they interpreted it as a declaration of challenge and opportunity. The Kravath fleet, an armada of jagged, predatory vessels, set course for the Sol system with terrifying speed. Their intention was clear: to seize the Obelisk and eliminate any who stood in their way. By the time humanity's long-range scanners detected the incoming fleet, it was too late to mount a proper defense. The Kravath were days away, their approach cloaked in the faint ripples of space-time disturbances. Panic erupted on Europa and Earth as news of the impending attack spread. The Galactic Union offered words of concern but little else, unwilling to risk direct conflict with the Kravath. Faced with annihilation, humanity had no choice but to prepare for a desperate defense. On Europa, the research station's labs were repurposed into makeshift factories, producing weapons and shields using the limited supply of Helion X7. Earth's orbital fleets were scrambled, their hybridized ships a patchwork of human ingenuity and borrowed Union technology. Through it all, Varga and Herrera worked tirelessly to unlock more of the Obelisk's secrets, hoping to find anything that could give humanity an edge. It was during one of these frantic sessions that they uncovered a final fragment of data, a schematic for a weapon unlike anything humanity had ever conceived. The design, which Varga named Erebus, was built around Helion X7's unique properties, using the element to create a controlled singularity capable of destroying entire fleets. The potential power of the weapon was staggering, but so were the risks. The activation of Erebus could destabilize the entire region of space, potentially consuming everything within its radius, including Earth. "We're out of time," Varga said, her voice steady despite the weight of her words. "This is our only chance." Herrera looked at her, his face etched with doubt and fear. And if we fail, if Erebus destroys us along with them, then we fail fighting for our survival, she replied. But if we succeed, we'll show the galaxy what humanity is capable of. The clock ticked down as the Kravath fleet closed in, their ships blotting out the stars as they prepared to strike. In the depths of Europa, surrounded by the frozen ocean and the remnants of an ancient civilization, humanity made its stand. The Obelisk had given them the tools, but it was their resolve that would decide the outcome. As the final preparations were made, Varga stood before her team, her voice carrying through the tension-filled air. We didn't choose this fight, but we will finish it. Remember what we're fighting for: our world, our future. If this is the trial, then let us endure it together.